The year was 1920. On May the 13th, in the small village of Cabrunici in Istria, then under the Italian kingdom, a child was born to Miha Bulesic and Lucia Butkovic. They named him Miroslav. 10 days later, in the parish church of Jurzici, the infant was baptized. Few could have imagined that this child would grow into a priest whose blood would one day seal his faith. From his youth, Miroslav felt the stirring of a vocation. It was not ambition that moved him, but the quiet call of God. He entered formation for the priesthood, dedicating himself to studies, prayer, and service. In 1939, on the eve of global war, his bishop sent him to Rome for further study at the Pontifical Gregorian University. There, in the very heart of Christendom, Miroslav deepened his knowledge of theology, while Europe descended into darkness. He was present in St. Peter's Basilica on October 31st, 1942, when Pope Pius XII consecrated the world to the Immaculate Heart of Mary. For Miroslav, it was not just history unfolding, it was a summons to deeper sacrifice. By spring of 1943, the bishop recalled him home. On April 11th, Miroslav was ordained to the priesthood in Istria. His family wept with joy as they watched him kneel before the altar, the bishop's hands upon his head. Just weeks later, he celebrated his first Mass in his childhood parish. Yet, his priesthood would not be one of peace. The war raged on, and Istria stood torn between fascists, partisans, and soon, the rise of communist rule. Assigned first to Baderna in late 1943, Miroslav quickly found himself at the crossroads of violence and ideology. Later in 1945, he was moved to Kanfanar, where the communist regime had begun its brutal suppression of the church. Priests were harassed, church activities restricted, and the faithful intimidated. But Father Miroslav refused to yield. He introduced Eucharistic adoration and devotion to the Sacred Heart. He urged families to pray the Rosary together, encouraged children to receive the sacraments often, and spoke with a fire that drew souls back to Christ. To the regime, this young priest became dangerous. His popularity among the people threatened their control. The brave priest wrote, "I am a Catholic priest, and I will distribute the sacraments to anyone who asks for them, a Croatian, a German, an Italian. If you wish me to be with you, Lord, here I am. I give my life for my flock. I do not fear martyrdom. I long for it. Let your will be done." The communists introduced civil weddings and funerals, trying to pull people away from the sacraments. Yet the faithful continued to flock to Miroslav's parish. The more the regime pressed, the more his flock clung to their shepherd. Officials even approached his family, urging them to convince Miroslav to return to Italy, away from danger, but his answer was unwavering. "There is a greater need for priests here." By June of 1947, he wrote in his diary, "If it is your will, Lord, I am ready. If they kill me, they will kill me for my faith and for you." He even told seminarians under his care that to be a priest meant to be ready to shed blood for Christ. He knew the cost, and he was prepared to pay it. That day, in the parish of Lanice, Father Miroslav assisted at confirmations. The church was filled with families, children, and the presence of their beloved priest. But outside, hatred lurked. A group of communist extremists stormed the rectory. They dragged him violently, beating him, throwing him against the walls. Witnesses recall the savagery, but also the silence. Through the pain, he never cried out. He never screamed. Only one prayer left his lips: "Jesus, receive my soul." Moments later, a blade pierced his neck. At just 27 years old, Miroslav Bulešić entered eternity as a martyr. His blood did not vanish with his death. The very linens and objects stained during his martyrdom remain preserved as relics today, silent witnesses of his sacrifice. They testify to the price he paid for the Eucharist and continue to inspire pilgrims who kneel before them in prayer. Like Saint Bruno Seruncuma, One of the Ugandan martyrs once said, "A fountain fed from so many springs will never dry up. When we are gone, others will rise in our place." The blood of martyrs, like the blood of Blessed Miroslav, waters the Church in every age. In a world still torn by ideologies that rise and fall, Blessed Miroslav Bulešić stands as a witness to the enduring strength of faith, courage, and love. Blessed Miroslav Bulešić, pray for us.